You are listening to Theoretical Insights of D&D.
Lord, give me a fireball!
Screw how hot your skin is, my bars are hotter. Let me tell you what this is. Let me tell you, you listeners, if you don't know what the zombie has packing in his decaying flesh. You shut up, Cancer Bones. You gonna be a zombie if that cancer doesn't get cured.
Hey guys, I'm Rob and welcome back to Theoretical Insights of D&D. Today I'm joined by my lovely wife, Amanda, who has decided to agree for once, because that's what married people do, to come on and talk, just have a conversation about character progression and what it's like to watch that unfold when you build a character from scratch at, say, first or third or fifth level, and you go through a game and watch them change. Even though you're the one playing them, you find yourself playing them differently in, say, session 15 compared to session 3. So, how many characters have you played in the past 2 years?
Hold on, I gotta count it up. Three?
I think that's right.
I think.
I mean, there was, your first character was L'Oreal.
Yep.
And that was the ranger that was only like 3 sessions in my campaign.
And then Kira. And then
Aurora. Come on, how could you forget Aurora?
And the Dragonborn in...
Yeah, the Jeremiah's campaign. That was only about 3 or 4 sessions, but there wasn't a whole lot of character development there. But we can talk about playing different characters with that one, too.
Yeah, I don't remember her name.
It was Daenerys something.
Yeah,
it was
Daenerys.
It was something we were trying to come up with a last name, like a house name. And I remember it was like, well, let's just look up the Japanese word for like cold weather or thunderstrike. And because she was she was a blue dragonborn paladin or something like that.
Yeah.
The past 3 years, I have played 3 characters. 4. I played Aziel Hizzle. I played Ford Jensen, Octavius Finnick, Ick Probosis there for just a little bit. And long before that, I was playing Philip Vontarius Hildebrand III in Jeremiah's first name.
That's ridiculous.
That is the best name I've ever come up with.
That is ridiculous.
Don't you sit there and judge me.
There is no need for it to be that long.
No, it needs to be that magnificent.
Did they just call you Philip?
No, they called me Phil Von T.
Okay.
That was my name, Phil Von T. That was what I played over at when we were at the game shop.
Yeah.
So when you look back at the 3 characters that you have played over the last, I would say 2 years for sure, which one really stands out to you that, well, actually 4. Which of those 4 characters stands out to you as, I wish I had more time with them because I saw them going in a direction that I was really excited to see them. What road were you wanting to take them down?
Kira.
Well, keep in mind, Kira's not gone. We're just in a hiatus.
Yeah. Kira.
Why? Like from first session with Kira to the last session that we played, in which was the fight with Cerberus.
We don't really have like a why. I just had more of like an attachment to her. I guess it really could just come down to the fact that I played her the longest. And she was also, I guess, the most powerful out of any of the characters that I've played.
Oh yeah, she was the highest level because the Grim Hollow campaign that we played that Jeremiah ran for about a year, our cap was level 6. And right now you are 10th level as Kira.
Yeah.
There anything that you did with Kira that actually sticks out specifically in your mind?
I think the thing that I did with her the most was probably Fury of Blows or Flurry?
Flurry.
Flurry of Blows.
So you remember Flurry of Blows more than anything. I mean, I guess that's part of being a monk, because spoiler alert, Baldur's Gate 3 dropped last week, and that's what I'm playing in the online game that I'm playing with Eric. So I got to say, Flurry of Blows is extremely satisfying in that game. So if you had to choose a character to go back and start all over with again, to watch their story progress, even if everything happened the exact same way, which of those four would you want to redo from beginning to where they're at now?
Probably Aurora.
Really?
Yeah. And that would probably just be because of
You didn't know how to play a bard.
no Mouse.
Yeah, Mouse.
Yep. Mouse was this 600-year-old child who we found in a
He was stuck in a time bubble.
yes, like a magic time bubble bar tavern thing. And when we finally escaped from that, we took him with us, and he just kind of became a child figure.
Yeah, pretty much. Even though he was arguably, what's funny about that is the second he came out of the time bubble, the Jeremiah decided that he was going to have him become like a sorcerer, wild magic sorcerer that had so much pent up magic within him he couldn't control it, and the wild magic just fit with that perfectly. He started progressing through levels and powers quick. Like by that point, we were already 4th or 5th level when we found him, and I want to say when the game ended, he was technically a 3rd or 4th level sorcerer. So he was progressing through his power levels fast.
Yeah.
Not too much longer, he would have outdone Octavius, and Octavius was a monster for 6th level.
Yeah.
So, which of those characters did you have the most fun creating?
Creating Kira.
Really? I figured it would have been Aurora,
No.
just because of all the, I think we all sat down as a group and created the characters for that.
Yeah. I guess the only reason I say Kira is because, like, the Drunken Master has a lot of different really cool stuff that you get to choose from.
Oh, character arc for Kira when Aziel, because it's really hard to come up with stuff, so I just had Ares retire as the god of war in my game, and Aziel stepped in because I wanted to include him. When that happened, you talked to Bacchus and said, I'm leaving you, and I'm no longer going to be a Way of the Drunken Fist. I'm going to go and be an acolyte of Aziel, and now I'm going to be a Kinsei.
Yeah.
So that was a big character arc for Kira because it completely changed her playstyle.
Yeah.
Any other character arcs of any of your characters that you like really sticks out in your head? Like last session, I would not have thought, talked, or played like this, but whatever happened last session led to me playing them and talking as them this way.
Stop, I'm thinking. Okay, so let's say that Aurora never got trapped in the time warp tavern magic bar thing, and she had never met Mouse. Then I probably would have played her a little bit more hardcore, rather than she went the motherly route, the caring route.
The safer route.
Yes, because of Mouse.
Yeah.
But I think if Mouse had never been introduced to us and I had never, met him and become attached to him, then I definitely would have played her a little more hardcore.
I don't know if I would have had it any other way, specifically speaking from playing, because I played 2 characters in that campaign, from Ford and Octavius's perspectives, because it gave an entirely new thing to focus on instead of just like the end game. So Ford was able to bond with somebody else and be like a, in air quotes, fatherly figure, because at the time he had a daughter that he was not actively present and active in her life.
Yeah.
And Octavius found himself a small young acolyte to help progress his way and learn magic and share his magical findings and stuff. So I think that played out almost perfectly.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite character and or character arc?
A favorite character? Gosh, if you had asked me 3.5 years ago, I would have said Philip Von Terrius, Hildebrand III.
Still ridiculous.
No, it's magnificent. Now, God, it's really hard to choose because Phil Von T was the first character that I sat down and made on my own and played for 8 or 9 months, and kind of he was cemented as like the leader of the group because he was the bard. He did a lot of the talking, especially with all the stuff that happened with Scrappy and the Underkiln in the game that we were playing. Scrappy was an artificer who Phil Von T actually befriended. And as a matter of fact, you were there at the game shop for the session in which Scrappy died. And remember, I got extremely upset, and I've spent the entire week messaging Jeremiah finding a way to bring Scrappy back. And eventually I rolled like a 26 on a religion check or something like that, doing saying a prayer or something, because I took 1 level in cleric to where I could get heavy armor proficiency. Because screw not having a good armor class with like 22 health. And Scrappy came back, and it turned out that he was the leader of the Underkiln, but, because of that, Phil Von T gave his life for everybody to, escape from the Underkiln's ship before it was about to explode. But Aziel, because of an absolutely fantastic dungeon master that was on Roll20, there was so much of Aziel and his brother Raylan's backstory that drove that campaign that he's possibly the greatest character I've ever played. Not because of power level, not because of roleplay so much. Even though that group, the roleplay was fantastic with them. Everybody was doing a voice, everybody was playing their character, That was the first time that I realized, wow, I'm not the center of attention, and neither is the guy that's playing Aziel's brother, even though 85% of this game we're following our backstory, and and the end game is leading to a culmination of everybody's backstories being intertwined. But the first 7 or 8 months was mine and his backstories just playing off of each other, just one right to the other. Ford, on the other hand, he'd point a gun and shoot. And that was the damage dealer. I cast haste on him as Octavius, and in one turn did 98 damage to the vampire guy. I can't remember his name.
The naked one?
No, not the naked one. That was Sir Schweppes.
Yeah.
Count Schweppes. No, it was the guy that turned Ford into a vampire. Yeah, him.
I don't remember his name.
I can't remember his name either. I've got it written down somewhere, but I can't remember his name. Aldrich.
Yeah.
Yeah. He did 98 damage in one turn to Aldrich because of 2 natural 20s, 2 critical hits, and a regular with that Blood Hunter archery fighting style and a 2d10 hunting rifle. Then there was Octavius. Octavius was just a ridiculously amount of fun to play. Being a 6th level wizard under the 2nd level Lich transformation from Grimhollow, a 22 intelligence with a ridiculous spell save DC, a ridiculous spell save or spell attack, and and a plethora of spells to have available to me. There was just a lot of stuff that I did as Octavius that was really cool. And then Ford being like the group leader, that if anybody had a question, they came to Ford.
Yeah.
And Ford was making a lot of the decisions, and Ford was rallying everybody to, stay in the fight or get better at whatever they were doing. I've got to say Aziel. Aziel's by far the best character I ever made.
Well, we kind of got to see him as you played him too in that when you brought him back.
Yeah, and he was underleveled. When the campaign on Roll20 ended, it ended badly because the dungeon master fairly got upset at people constantly dropping out. Especially since we played for nearly 2 years in the same campaign. I had taken him from 5th level to 12th level. I played him for a year and a half. And this guy stood toe-to-toe with Vecna without his eye in hand, granted. He did not have the hand of Vecna or the eye of Vecna, otherwise he would have stood no chance at that level. But he stood toe-to-toe with Vecna, and when Vecna stepped closer to him within his melee reach, Aziel looked at Vecna and said, "You done messed up now," and proceeded to do 53 damage with melee attacks as a cleric because of some magical items that I had. The amount of healing that I did with him was just ridiculous. Yeah, he was the best one by far.
That's cool.
As far as a character arc, I would say that there was a point in that campaign where we got into the we went to some kind of ice realm. I don't remember what it was technically called. And I roleplayed to the point to where the DM thought that I was going to leave the faith of Vulcan in character behind. And he created a homebrew subclass in which Owen played in my game, the Frigid Domain. He created a homebrew subclass for me to where I could leave the service of Vulcan and go to the Ice Queen. Well, what he didn't know is that before that session started, I started talking to the Ice Queen about how I was going to leave the service of Vulcan. I was going to come serve her and all of that. Well, Vulcan heard that part, and he didn't hear nothing else. But he showed up. He showed up like, "Boy, what are you doing? You're going to leave me for her?" "No, I just needed to do something for you to show up." And he turned around, looked at the Ice Queen, and I said, "You about to die." And Vulcan went to fighting with her and got us out safely. That was that kind of moment where the DM was like, "Okay, you got one over on me. Let's see how much fun we can have with this." And from there on, Aziel became like a cell phone to the gods. So if somebody wanted to talk to Apollo, they came to Aziel. Like, "Hey, can you get Apollo for me?" Doing almost in air quotes ritualistic in character prayers, obviously without praying or anything, other than like, "Hey, I want to ask Vulcan this question." But 7 times out of 10, whenever he would do that, whoever he was trying to get in contact to showed up to talk to him, like face to face.
No.
And in a lot of campaigns and stories, that just doesn't happen. So it was awesome to watch that play out. Absolutely awesome.
That sounds really cool.
Are there any, out of those 4 characters, is there anything that you would want to do completely differently? Like, would you rather play a fighter instead of a monk with Kira, or would you have rather been a sorcerer instead of a bard with Aurora, or something like that, or just a different play style?
No, I mean, as far as those characters go, they worked with what they were. But I would definitely maybe try something new with a new character.
Yeah.
But the characters worked as what they are. They became, at least on paper, that person.
Yeah. As a weird question, if you were to meet your 4 characters face to face, who would you sit down and eat dinner with if you had to choose only one of them that you knew, okay, I can carry on a decent conversation with this person. We're going to have a little bit in common, and they're not going to make me feel inferior.
Probably Aurora.
I had a feeling because you played Kira kind of. Yeah, you was a complete hard. You were pretty hard.
Yeah. This is family friendly, so I can't say bad words, but I played Kira like a witch with a bee.
Yeah, pretty much. She wasn't so much mean to a whole lot of people, but she did not mess around, and she did not mince her words.
She loved her companions, but she was not really a people person.
No.
And she definitely did not have a filter.
I would love to go sit down at MacArthur's with Ford and have a cup of coffee, even though it tastes like dirt.
Yeah.
You know.
MacArthur's was our in-game version of McDonald's.
Yeah.
And the coffee was terrible.
Yeah, I just Ford went up to the guy working behind the counter and said, you mind taking a sip of that over there? Why, sir? Is there something wrong with it? Yeah, for one, it tastes like dirt. You ought to, somebody back there ought to learn how to make a decent cup of coffee. That became a whole running gag. Oh, for Ford, there was a moment when I went back and just hastened myself as Octavius and just rode that horse all the way back to the city from the woods when the Arcane Inquisition was going to be coming in to attack. And he hopped on the coffee grandma's cart, and she had 2 guns up under that thing. And he laid down with his hunting rifle, and they went charging in the battle together. That was awesome.
Yeah.
That was absolutely awesome because Ford went into that as like the battle general. Like he was setting everything up, making sure everybody was in the right place, and it was really cool to see that happen. If you were to create a character tomorrow, would you find yourself modeling them after one of your previous characters? And if so, which one of those characters would you possibly model them after?
See, I want to say no, I wouldn't do that, but
Everybody does a little bit.
I probably would do that, but that also kind of piggybacks off of the fact that I'm new, and I don't really know a whole lot about the different classes and species and things like that.
Species.
Species. It don't have an H in it. It's species.
Okay.
Look at the word does not have an H.
We're here to talk about D&D, not the way I talk.
Well, it's not species. It's species.
Okay. David
But anyway,
Attenborough.
What?
I said, okay, David Attenborough.
I don't know who that is.
Planet Earth. Blue Planet. David Attenborough's the guy that narrated. Divorce.
Okay. Okay.
Lord have mercy. Don't know how David Attenborough is.
You watch too much Discovery.
What were you saying?
I don't remember.
God.
Oh wait, I do remember.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Basically just saying that I would probably model a new character off of an old character just because I don't know a lot about like making a character. Because I personally have not been doing this as long as you have.
Oh, I haven't really been doing it. Well, I take that back. I've been playing for 6 years now. if you had been able to sit down and just kind of listen to how I played Aziel and how I talked as Aziel, I caught myself doing a good bit of that as Ford. The
Yeah.
one that was really like, hey, we need to go and do this. I did that a lot as Aziel. Now, however, old Octavius and Phil Von T were completely different people. Like, they talked different, they walked different.
Oh yeah.
One was a duck, the other was a chimpanzee.
No, Octavius was a nerd alert. Nerd alert.
Aurora, we need to have a conversation about how you get on my nerves, okay?
And that was basically Octavius for the
Yeah.
entire game. He thought he was smarter than everybody, and he wasn't. He was book smarter than everybody, but he didn't have a dang lick of street smarts in his entire body.
Well, that didn't matter. Who was the most... Who
You're
was
out on an adventure. It does matter.
Tell that to Bilbo Baggins. He got the job done. He didn't have a bit of street smarts. Still nothing. Well, he stole the ring and the Arkenstone. Oh, okay, I get what you mean. No, it was like Octavius was arguably. I know we've had conversations about that before. Ford, there were 3 characters in that group that was ridiculously more powerful than the rest. Aurora was better at talking to people because she was a bard. She was the that goes back into like the power gap dynamic.
My persuasion was off the charts
Yeah.
with her.
It also helped that you'd went the what was it, the Infernal? Not the Infernal, the Grim Hollow transformation for a devil, I think.
Are you talking about after the transformation?
Yeah.
I was a
It was like a fiend. Yeah, it was a fiend.
Yeah, I went
Yeah.
fiend.
And that helped your charisma out a good
Yeah.
bit. She was really good at the talking dynamic. She was really good at getting us in and out of trouble.
Yes.
You know. Gwen's character was there, and she did a good bit of healing, and she did a lot of eye pokes. I'm gonna shoot him in the eye.
Yeah, okay, so when she first started, nobody told her that when you call your shots, you get disadvantage. And
Yeah.
so every time she would shoot, she'd be like, I'm going to shoot him in the eye.
And
we're
somehow
like,
she hit every single
we're
time.
like, okay, baby girl, don't call it
If she
until
hit-
after.
Yeah, she hit every single time. Daniken was absolutely no joke. That was Eric's Psy Warrior or Psy Knight fighter. He was absolutely no joke. Frontline tank, no questions asked, could take damage and could deal it back in a heartbeat. Ford, extremely mobile, could hide very easily because his stealth by that point, even as a blood hunter, was like a plus 8 or something like that, along with the vampire transformation to where he had the vampiric misty step or vampiric mist.
Yeah.
He was just there for damage. He was there for nothing else. Long range damage. Octavius, on the other hand, and I know we had a lot of conversations about it at the table. Because of the way that everything was playing out with Octavius, there was the possibility of him turning evil, and he did there at the very end. Octavius is the one that could have, if he wanted to, wiped that party off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Because there's just so much more available to a wizard as there is a blood hunter, a fighter, and a bard at that level. There's control spells, banishment spells, necromancy spells. You know, I kill one of you, bring you back from the dead as my servant or whatever.
I
As a matter
remember
of
when
fact,
he
I remember.
threatened me with that.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
you said you were like, what if we go in and die?
Well, you might not like the way that you come back, Aurora, but I can bring you back. You just might not appreciate it.
No.
You see, you're no fun.
I am not coming back as somebody's little servant boy.
Well, you were a girl, so that wouldn't.
Okay,
have
well,
worked.
I am not coming back as somebody's little servant girl.
You could have come back.
Sorry.
You could have come back up and said, because you would have been a zombie.
No.
God, you really you got to work on your role play.
My role play.
Yeah, you're not.
What
comfortable
does not
playing
wanting to be a zombie have to do with role play? I role played just fine, thank you. I role played. I mean, I was the newest at the table, and I role played better than a lot of them who just wanted to sit there and doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
Crying doesn't count as role play.
Edit.
No, that's staying in. You done been caught now. Is there anything else about your characters that you specifically want to say, or anything about mine that you specifically want to ask?
What was the question?
Is there anything about your characters that you specifically want to tell anybody, or is there anything about mine you want to ask? You know that Gollum meme where he's like, "Oh, ooh, I just watched that play out in front of my very eyes."
Are you saying I look like Gollum?
No. I believe you are a beautiful woman, and I love you.
Master has given Dobby a sock.
Dobby and Gollum are two completely different people.
I know that, but they kind of like they're both a little creepy looking.
A little creepy looking. Okay. But I guess that's where we're going to close this episode out. Next episode, Eric will be back and we'll be talking about, we'll be listing our top monsters for CR3. So be sure to tune in for that if you're wanting to find out, what two idiots think are the top monsters for CR3. And surprise, surprise, there will be a new celebrity ranking list. And eventually we'll find somebody to piss off.
It will definitely be what two idiots think. You could if it's just going to be you and Eric, you could rename this podcast What Two Idiots Think About ...
I'm calling Eric.
Call him. He knows what I think.
Potato Candy's going to listen to this, and Marie's just going to be like, I don't know if we want her on the show or not. She's going to call us idiots.
No, they don't seem like idiots at all. I'm just talking about you and Eric.
Hey, okay, no. But thank you so much for joining us, and I'm thinking Amanda will probably hop in the future more often.
Maybe. My, speaking into a microphone is, capped out at a certain point. And so I can only do so much of this at a time. I need to recharge. That's it. I need to recharge my speaking into a microphone battery.
Now watch Potato Candy wants to record together in 3 days.
I'll do it for them.
Wow. Wow.
She seemed nice.
Yeah. Yeah. We love Potato Candy. In the meantime, in between these episodes of tomfoolery, keep rolling high, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.